everyone, welcome back to Dress Your Face Live. I'm here with our lovely model, Jessica. And I just put her name on my Snapchat so you guys can check her out and show her some love. I actually recruited her from a Snapchat casting call. So I think I'm gonna just keep doing that because I met some really cool girls. So we're here today to do a class that a lot of you requested, especially you hairstylists out there or some of you bridal makeup artists that want to get into hair. So I wanted to make sure that I included some bridal hair updo classes as well on your subscription so you guys can get a better idea of how to do very intricate, beautiful hairstyles, but in a very easy way. So I'm here to basically just cut it down and make it very simple to follow. It actually, this hairstyle that I posted looks a lot more complicated than it really is. It's really not that complicated. I know for a fact a lot of you guys can do this at home. So if you guys end up trying any of these looks that I'm doing on DYFL, go ahead and make a post about it. I want to see it. I want to see your improvements. I want to see your progress. Go ahead and hashtag Dress Your Face Live. Make sure your profiles are public so I can see what you're up to and I can keep tabs on you and I can show you my support as well by liking your posts and making sure that you're learning correctly. And of course, if you guys have any requests for future classes, that's the perfect way to give me those suggestions, aside of course from commenting, but I do delete a lot of posts after the classes are over. Sometimes I'll delete the flyers. So to make sure that your question does not get deleted, the best way to give me your recommendations and your requests is to make a post on your own page and write it in your description. So you can, post a picture of today's class, screenshot something, post it, tag us, and hashtag Dress Your Face Live. And in your description of the post, you can let me know, hey, this is what I loved most about this class, this is what I learned, and this is what I'd like to learn next time. And that way, I can be the best instructor for you, and I can make sure that you guys are learning exactly what you want. And as you guys know, from the past several months, I've only been taking your requests. So this has not been, planned ahead by me by any means. This is 100% what you want and I add it to the schedule. So yay! Okay, so I'm going to show you now the post that you're going to comment on for your questions, because after class we're going to do a Q&A together and I'm going to go ahead and answer your makeup and hair questions. So this is the post that you guys should comment on. It's my latest post on Instagram. If you're watching this live, you can go ahead and ask me there all your hair questions. And also makeup questions are fine. What I'll do after class is I'll answer your hair questions first and then I'll answer some of your makeup questions and then we'll say bye and I'll see you in a couple more days for the next class. So I'm going to show you now the products that we're going to be using in today's class. If you guys want to do this along with me, if you have a model in front of you, or if you want to watch the recording later and make sure you have a doll head or a model in front of you to follow along, you can do that as well. So first of all, I just want to, hang on just one second. Are we good? Just wanted to make sure I have my mic on so that you guys can hear me very, very loud and clear. So first of all, I want to show you the hair extensions that we're going to use. This is a class that is meant to show you how to do the proper bun updo, but using padding and using hair extensions. I know those things can get very tricky, so I wanted to make it easier for you and show you. The hair extensions that we're going to be using are, of course, the Bombay Hair Tamana hair extensions. These are ombre. They're very, very natural looking, very highlighted, and super, super amazing and thick. And I've gone ahead and matched her hair, and I'm going to be using, I'm going to tell you exactly what color this is right here. This is caramel brown to ash brown. Caramel brown to ash brown, and this color matches the ends of her hair so perfectly. So what's going to happen is all this hair is going to go up into the bun, and I'm going to stick these extensions in so that the ends match the ends, and that's going to be done in just a couple of steps. Very, very easy. Of course, these extensions also come with the Tamana brush, so I can keep them nice and silky and very, very easily detangled. So make sure when you do order your hair extensions, make sure that you are receiving your free brush. Actually, you don't even have to make sure because it comes in the box, so you will be taken care of. It's on BombayHair.com. Just go under Tamana Ombre Extensions and you'll find the whole line. There are so many different colors to choose from. Again, this is the caramel brown to ash brown. Caramel brown to ash brown. We also have darker bases and lighter tips, a whole range. So go ham, go crazy, enjoy. Another thing that we're going to be using is this big old donuts. This I got from H&M, and you can actually find this at Sally's Beauty Supply as well, but H&M also carries, if you are ever there, have you ever seen like those big bins right in the front? So they have these, but it's so hard to find these huge ones because they get sold out so fast. You always see those little dinky ones that no one buys, so you gotta dig in there and find yourself a big one, and if you don't, then go to Sally's and get it there or on Amazon. Mesh Chignon, I don't even know how you like pronounce it, but it's spelled mesh, and then the second word, if you want to search it on Amazon, is Chignon. So that is the name of these things. I like to call them donuts. Makes my life a little easier. And we're going to use this to pad her hair and then use the extensions to cover up this mesh because she does have shorter hair. So I want to make sure we have enough to cover up all this stuff that we're trying to hide. Of course, you also need your box of bobby pins and hair pins. The bobby pins are the closed pins. The hair pins are the U-shaped open ones that are like prongs and they stick in. So we're going to be using both of these today. As far as the teasing comb, I use my Layla Milani What a Tease comb. It's very, very amazing, and it is melt proof. So if you accidentally get this to touch your flat iron or your hot tools, it won't melt. And of course my claw clips, these come in the Tamana hot tool set. So this is my whole set of like flat iron, 3-piece wand set. You got the clips in there, and it comes with a 1-year warranty. So the flat iron is right here that we'll be using now to prep the hair. This is a Tamana flat iron, and I really literally only use this along with my wand on everybody. So it's literally eliminated half of my horrible tools that have been sitting around for years, and now I have these sleek tools in the complete Tamana styling set. You can also find that on BombayHair.com. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, also, my favorite hairspray, Tresemme number 5. You can get this pretty much anywhere, Target, drugstores, whatever. Tresemme number 5 is the hairspray that we're gonna go with. So, the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna prep the hair. So, all of her hair, I don't have to do it in like crazy sections or anything, I'm just gonna go for it. All of her hair is going to be prepped by curling it with a flat iron. So I'm gonna go nice and slow in a very even pace. And now we have this little bouncy little curl, and I'm gonna leave that alone. And we're gonna basically just do this everywhere. So every piece of her hair is gonna have this really soft curl. We don't have to curl the root. The root can remain, you know, straight, but I like to really curl from about halfway down all the way to the tip. And you can see how gorgeous the curls end up turning out. And we're just gonna do this all over. While I do this, I'm gonna go ahead and answer some of the most common hair questions that I get. So one of the most common questions I get is, how do you want the hair to be? When you have your client come over, do you ask them to come with freshly washed hair, or do you ask them to come with wet hair so you can blow dry, or do you prefer dirty hair? Now, I prefer 1-day-old hair, but it obviously depends on how quickly the client's hair gets greasy, because greasy hair is going to be a little hard to work with, but we do like a little buildup. What I personally like to work with is a little bit of dirt in the hair, some buildup, because it tends to react a little bit better. It kind of cooperates with you a little better than freshly washed hair. Freshly washed hair tends to be a little too silky or too frizzy or too dry or too whatever, and it does take about a day for the hair to settle down and to start kind of taking your commands a little bit better. But worst come to worst, if my clients have freshly washed hair, it's not a big deal because I have my professional grade styling set here that can work really well with even the most frizzy, hard to curl hair. So I'm okay either way, honestly. My #1 request for my clients is that they come with dry hair. Whatever it may be, whether it's freshly washed or not, as long as it's 100% dry and not damp and not super oily, that's all I ask for, because I do not like to waste my time with blow dries. So I do not choose to work with any assistants or anything that can just blow dry for me, and I book back to back. So if a client comes in with wet hair, they're basically eating up their appointment time with me just simply blow drying their hair. And it does take time to blow dry correctly and in a nice way to prep for your updo. So I actually don't even do that part. I tell my clients, just come with dry hair. Even if you did not professionally blow dry it, that's fine. I got this baby, and it ends up going so smooth on the hair, even with like nappy curly hair, it's totally fine. So yeah, that's pretty much all I ask for. Another common question I get is regarding hair products. What products do I like to use? Now, I am not a product junkie by any means. The only products that I really like and carry are the Tresemme #5 hairspray, which I just showed you on the camera. And I like a couple other products depending on, you know, certain hair situations. So there's a powder, a hair powder by Layla Milani called Big Hair Don't Care. And it's a little powder that you just shake on the roots of the hair if the hair is very flat and very silky and will not tease very well. So that's one of the products that I carry in my kit, kind of as an emergency product. If I really need to use something, I'll use that. Also, there is a teasing hairspray. Oh, I forgot what it's called. I will find out what it's called. I think it's called it's called Super Teased Hair. It's in a pink can, and I do carry that at my studio, and I do like to use it on hair that is also very silky and hard to tease. I just spray that on the area that I need to tease, and it becomes very like rough, and then I'm able to tease it really well. And it holds the tease very well too. So that's a product that I like. It's just called What a Tease hairspray. Oh no, I'm so sorry. It's called a Super Teased Hair. Maybe it also is called What a Tease. I'm tripping. But if you look for Super Teased Hair online, it's this pink spray can. So definitely try them out. I've been, you know, using them since last year. And it really helps with very silky hair. Other than that, I'm not a big, you know, mousse user. I don't use gels. I don't use serums really. Again, I'm not really into so many products. I like very easy going, just kind of straightforward stuff. And with the right hair tools, you don't even need so many products out there. You know, especially with updos, all you really need is a hairspray and you're fine. As long as you have those good tools, like I said, it kind of does everything you need it to do for your hair. I'm trying to think of any other common questions I get for hair. As far as like different hair lengths are concerned, for updos, I can do updos on shorter hair. Like Jessica's hair here is not super long. It's shorter than the bra strap level. It's like somewhere between shoulder length and bra strap length. And so with her hair, we can absolutely do any updo she wants. And if we are a little short on length, we can always use extensions. So I do recommend that all my clients, if they don't have super thick and super long hair, that they bring hair extensions with them so that at least we have that peace of mind that in case we run out of their own hair, we have some hair extensions that we can work with. One of the reasons why I teamed up with BombayHair.com for my hair extensions is because I had been using Bombay hair for years, and I told all my brides to order Bombay hair because it was so thick. I didn't even need that many pieces of extensions. If you guys are hairstylists, then you know the annoyance and the pain of having to put so many clip-in extensions in an updo or a downdo. It's so heavy, the clips get in the way, it's just very annoying. So with the Bombay hair, their hair is so thick that you don't need as many pieces to put in. So you end up using only a couple of wefts of hair, and so you don't fill the whole head with all these clips. It feels amazing. It's super thick from root to tip, so it's not like you need so many pieces, like I said. So that's why I used to always recommend my brides to buy the Bombay hair, and plus Bombay hair is super easy to curl. Like it's so silky and it's so strong, but it's not resistant to curl. Like it curls very well, which you'll see in a few minutes. So once I was ready to create my own hairline, naturally I decided to partner up with Bombay Hair because I had been using them, and I'm a very, very loyal person. If I have been using a company for a while, that means I love it, that means that I trust it, and so I'm more inclined to working with them long term. A lot of hair companies reached out to me to do collaborative products with them, including hair extensions and hair tools, with a lot of leading brands. But because I was not a true customer of theirs, I couldn't do it. I could not let myself sell myself out like that to another company that I wasn't even 100% using. So of course Bombay Hair was the one, and I'm so glad I picked Bombay Hair because honestly, and I don't want this to come out as like me raving about my own stuff and tooting my own horn, but I just want you guys to know how proud I am of this collaboration, and I've never felt so satisfied with a product as much as I have felt satisfied with my hair tools and my extension line. So if you ever need anything as far as tools and extensions, definitely give the Bombay Hair Tamana collection a try. It's something I literally stamped my name on. I have worked so hard on it, literally for 2 years. The hair extensions took 2 years to come out. The hair tool set took 1 year to come out, a little bit over a year. But the tools are a lot easier because it's electric, so you just make it. But the hair, I had to make sure it was sourced correctly and that the quality was amazing and that the manufacturers were able to actually create that ombre balayage look that I had created. So yeah, I'm very, very proud of it. So I'm happy that we get to use those today. So now you can see Jessica's hair is fully prepared. It's curled at the ends and we're ready to go. So at this point, I'm gonna start sectioning her hair so you guys can see exactly step by step what we're gonna do here. And then we're gonna put her hair in a ponytail. So, how do you like to part your hair usually?
It depends on the day. Sometimes in the middle, sometimes down the side, but whatever you think looks best.
If you do it down the side, which side?
Right here.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna part it on her side right now. And I'm going to go from the top right here all the way behind her ear. And I'm gonna section off this piece. So let me show you exactly how I've done this. From the very, very top all the way to behind the ear. Notice that I've curved it. So I've curved it this way. And I'm just cutting it right behind the ear. So all of this is now going to be twisted and clipped aside to get out of my way while I do the other side. So that's out of the way now. I'm gonna do the other side same exact way. We're gonna go from the top all the way to behind the ear. And we're gonna just cut it right below. So all of this is going to be twisted again and clipped away. All right. So now that the front is all parted away, we're gonna play around with the back. So let me turn her back towards you. All of this is gonna go up into a ponytail. Now, in order for me to make sure that this is a very strong ponytail that does not sink, I'm gonna do a little teasing and spraying beforehand, especially if your client's hair is very silky. So I'm gonna start right up here. and I'm going to tease the roots, and I'm gonna spray. I'm gonna do it again, every section, almost all the way down. This is going to allow the hair to move to where I want it. See how it just kind of stays? That's exactly what I want. So tease and spray. Tease and spray. I'm gonna get this middle triangle here. I'm gonna start with the bottoms. And I want a nice high bun. So when you tease it, you can't just stick the hair out and tease like this. You have to go straight up, over direct the hair, and tease so that the hair actually stays upward and doesn't just get teased outward. And then this bottom part here, I'm just going to tease the top a little bit to bring it up. And now we're done with that part. So now I'm going to use a boar hair bristle brush or synthetic brush. This is a softening, basically a smoothing brush here. And I'm going to grab all this hair. I'm going to grab all this hair and bring it up into a high ponytail. As high as you and your client wish for it to go. So the picture that I had posted on Instagram was pretty high because that bride of mine had a full-on crown that she was wearing, and I wanted to make sure the crown was sitting right on top of her head. So this bun had to be really high up. Now I'm going to spray the whole bottom of the hair. So that all the baby hairs are now in this gathering. Beautiful. I'm not too worried about the sides or anything being smooth or the top being smooth because all this hair is going to cover it. So now just with a regular rubber band, I'm going to go ahead and fasten all this hair into a ponytail. I'm going to make it pretty tight, so I'm going to do one more. There we go. Okay, so now we have a lovely ponytail up here. Actually, you know what? I think with your beautiful makeup, I want to go a little higher. High bun? Okay, yeah. Let's do it. Screw it, let's just do it. Okay, so I'm gonna go a little higher actually with her because I just realized with her facial features and her gorgeous makeup, which by the way she did herself, I want to go really high with that bun, like give her a really snatched look. So we're gonna go higher. Yes. All right. Now I can just give her a nice ponytail up here. Go. All right. All right. Now we have this super high cutie pie ponytail. At this point, I'm going to use the donut. So I'm just sticking the hair right through the donut here. Okay. And we're going to use the U-pins to fasten the donut on the head so that it doesn't move around. So these are the U-pins right here. They're slightly open, they're not the closed bobby pins. I'm going to first of all make sure this is 100% centered, which it is. And now I'm going to, I'll show you in slow-mo. I'm going to use the U-pin to literally stick through the mesh and through her own hair so that this donut doesn't move around. So first through the mesh and then through her own hair and then stick it back up in the mesh so we have the most strength coming in there. And I'm gonna do this all the way around, just to make sure nothing gets loose. Even in the back. Okay, so now a monkey can dance on her head and she'll be fine. So I'm gonna now use all this hair to start covering up this whole mesh piece. Now, I wanna show you where I would put the extensions, because this is where a lot of people get lost and they're like, well, wouldn't you have had to apply the extensions in the hair first and then done the ponytail? But I actually do it differently because I don't want to deal with those clips. If you were to put the extensions in the hair first and then brought it up to a ponytail, the clips get in the way and then you can sometimes see the clips and it just ends up looking super crazy. So I like to put the extensions in the donut afterward, after the hair is up. So here are the extensions that we're going to be using. I'm gonna go ahead and open up this fresh new pack. And I'm gonna choose the biggest pieces, the 4 clip pieces to stick in there. So this is the 1, 2, 3, 4 clip piece. There's 2 4 clip pieces in there. So I'm gonna choose both of them and I'm gonna wrap them up. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm wrapping them up so that it's like one bunch. It's just a perfect bunch. Let me make this like super slow-mo for you. So here's the 4 clip. I'm just rolling it up into the perfect little bunch. So now it looks like it's just one fat clip. And I'm gonna stick this inside this bun. So, see that hole right in here? We're literally gonna stick it right through that hole. And now we have all this to play with. Now to make sure that this hair does not slip out, I'm going to use bobby pins to fasten it into this lovely hair bun. So I'm just using a couple of bobby pins across the whole thing to make sure nothing slips out. And now we're ready to curl these so that it actually flows through with the rest of the hair. Before I do that, I do want to add one more piece just so you guys can see a little more hair. Here is the other 4 clip piece of hair. 4 clips. And we're just going to wrap 1, 2, 3. And now it's all in one fat piece. And I'm going to stick this in there too on the bottom of this hole. Go ahead and look up a little bit. Yeah, beautiful. So I'm sticking this up in the bottom. So I have all this hair to work with. And again, we're going to bobby pin so that nothing slips. As many bobby pins as it takes you can use. I usually do about 2 to 3 bobby pins. All right, so let's go ahead and start curling these pieces. I'm going to split it in 3 little sections. And very slowly and evenly, we're going to curl it down. Feed this hair through the iron. And you can see how beautifully it just curves into the perfect spiral. So we're going to do that same thing 2 more times here, and then we're going to work on that top piece. When you're curling hair using a straightener, you want to make sure that the hair wraps all the way around. And then just go nice and slow and feed the hair right through this tool. And last piece. I'll do this one in slow motion in case you guys have trouble curling with a straightener. So I'm starting up here, see my name right there? I'm gonna turn it down and then turn it up again. So this hair piece always flows down like a waterfall. And then you can slowly start pulling. So it's one entire full 360 wrap. It's not wrapped twice because it makes it harder to pull if it's wrapped too much. And you can see with this slow motion, it ends up curling really nicely. And you're done with this bottom part. We already curled all of this, so we're good here. And now it's time to work on this top hair. I'm gonna split this in 3. We're going to do this exact same thing, slow motion wrapping and curling slowly all the way to the tip. Nice even motion. The slower you go, the tighter the curl. And now we have this little piece. We're going to do it just a couple more times, and then we can get started on the actual pinning. Overall, and this is another question I get a lot, how much time do you take to do a bridal updo or bridal makeup? So when I book a bride for hair and makeup, I like to have 2 to 3 hours with that bride for hair and makeup. Makeup takes about an hour or so. Hair can take 1 to 2 hours depending on how much hair they have and how much prep work is involved and all that. So I love to have about 2.5, 3 hours if I have that kind of time. If the window is very short, I can manage to do a bride in an hour and a half, but it will be literally rushing. So I'd rather the bride be calm and me be calm and no stress and have a little extra time to play. It also depends on the look, that they want to go for, and of course the type of situation you're in. If it's a wedding, you want to make sure that you're giving enough time so you're not rushing the bride and making her late, so you have to start at a really early good time. If it's a photo shoot, usually they've allocated all day for the shoot and you may have to change several times. So make sure you get there early, get the first look done, and stay on set to change as many times as you need to for the shoot. So of course it all will be information that you would be given by whoever is directing the shoot. But yeah, I like to get to places pretty early if I'm trying to do a whole lot of looks. So now that all the hair has been curled and it's ready to go, I'm going to start pinning the hair into place. So all of this extension hair is going to be what I will be using for covering the mesh, and then all of her real hair right here is going to be for the swirls on the top. So I'm going to put her hair aside for now so I can deal with the hair extensions first. Okay. So I'm going to just pin this aside. I can use this. There we go. Now, the first thing you're going to do for actually covering up all the mesh is you want to tease the bottom of the extension hair because we need to maximize the fluff of it. So I'm just detangling with the brush that comes with the set. And now I'm going underneath and I am teasing all of that hair. As you're teasing, you're going to notice a lot more fluff in the hair. So what it's going to do is it's going to hide more of the mesh. I also like to add hairspray when I'm teasing, just to make sure that the hair does not open up and get too silky. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little spray here. We're gonna use the smoothing brush to make sure that the surface looks nice and smooth while the insides are all teased. And we're gonna use this hair to literally cover up everything and not to worry too much with the top, because again, remember we have all this real hair that we can deal with, so that's what's gonna be covering the top. Now we're gonna take piece by piece, and I'll take like half of this hair. I'm gonna spread it out in my hands, give it a nice final smoothing on the surface. Spray. And we shall start pinning it around the mesh bun. What I like to do is I like to do a full loop. So I'm holding my hand. So look at my finger here, and you're gonna wrap it all the way under. So we're gonna stick this bobby pin right through the hair. And you're gonna wrap it right underneath. And we're gonna spread it out. See how much surface has been covered by this one piece. All of this. So just to prevent it from getting loose and moving around, I'm gonna add a cross pin and shove it right inside so that it does not move. I'm gonna do the same thing with this other piece right next to it. We're going to smooth it out further, just the surface, which is why I like brushes like this, because they don't go through all the hair, so we still have the teasing underneath. But the top part is all smoothed out. We're going to spray. And we're going to do that same wrapping technique with the bobby pin. So we're spreading out all this hair. We're going to put that bobby pin right through. And we're going to stick it right inside. And we're going to connect it to that previous piece, spread it out, and now that whole bottom section has been completely covered by this hair. Next, I'm going to take the ends of these sections and I'm going to wrap it right over to cover even more of that mesh right in here. So I'll spray it just to get it to listen to me. And then we will just spread it out and use it right over this mesh part here. And if we want to, we can either pin curl this entire little section, or we can hide it in the hole of the donut. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin curl it, just so you guys can see a variation here. And we just need a few hairpins, these type of hairpins, the open kind, to set the curl in the donut. Okay? That's it. So I'm going to spray it, just to make sure nothing flies out. And now we're going to turn her to the other side, and we're going to do the same thing to this loose piece right here. We're going to brush out and smooth the hair, and we're going to do the same thing by just going right over this bun. If there's any little loose hairs that are bothering you, you can go ahead and pin them right into the bun, no big deal. Okay. And now you guys realize the importance of curling the hair before doing the bun. Because see how when you go like this, it just kind of does its thing? And it just, you know, creates the style for you. It helps you so much. So make sure that you guys are not skipping this step and you're always curling the hair before you're putting it all up. So now I'm playing around and seeing where it's going to look best to curl and pin. So I'm going to flatten out this piece like a ribbon. And I'm going to pin it up right in here. And either I can use this piece to go back down and cover up some of the side, which I think I might do, or you can do this whole like pin curl thing again. But I'm gonna just use it to cover up more of that side. So first I'm going to use a pin to hold it up. I'm going to spray it. If you guys can see better this way. Okay, so I just moved all this hair across, and now I'm going to use this hair to cover up some of that side right there. And that's the thing that I love so much about the Tresemme hairspray, is that it really just freezes the hair in place. So you do not have to worry about putting so many pins in to hold it. In fact, I'm only going to use one pin right here to keep it from falling down, and then one pin right here. The regular hair pins, not the bobby pins. So I'm going to put this one in, right along the bottom. Smooth out all this hair, spread it out too so it maximizes. And don't worry, we still have all this to work with, so any parts that are a little bit messy is going to be covered up anyway, so you don't have to waste so much time. And now, this piece can hide that mesh over here. So I'm going to use my spray to get this all flattened out nicely. And I will use a bobby pin to arrange its place. And I'm going to stick it right at the base of the donut. Spread it out, make sure you're maximizing every single piece of hair. And spray. Okay. Now that we're done with that bottom section, we're going to bring all of her real hair down again. And we're going to start focusing on this top section. Starting with one side, we're going to split this hair in half. I do want to tease it just so I can fluff it out a little bit. And we're going to spray it so it's not too silky. And now we're going to wrap it around the front of the bun. So all of this is going to cover all of that. Bobby pin. It's all repetitive steps, you guys. Once you get it down, you can pretty much do any bun. Basically all the same stuff. And then you can get creative with the different patterns. And now I'm basically just, I don't know if you guys saw that. This piece here, this is the end of that extension piece. I'm just bringing it over and curving it over this piece in the front so we can have a nice loop there. And again, a lot of this is going to be covered by her front hair. So don't worry if you're not getting so, I don't know, creative with the look, because it's pretty much all going to be covered. You don't really need to be too creative. And then remember those U-pins, I'm just gonna stick them right in there so that the hair does not move around too much. There we go. All right, so far we have covered like 3/4 of that mesh bun. Actually more than that, we only have a little piece left. Okay, cool. So now I'm moving her, sorry. Okay, here we are. So we have this piece right over here that is still empty. Can you guys see this? Yeah, you can. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna do the same exact thing again. A little bit of teasing right in here. Spraying. If it gets too rough, you can smooth it. And I'm going to use my bobby pin and just wrap it right over into that mesh. And we spread out the hair so that it covers as much as possible. And now we have this hair that we can work with, and we will use this to cover the remaining mesh. So basically, just right in here. Wherever the hair kind of wants to go, just let it go there. It's hard to change the direction of a curl without a curling iron. So if the hair wants to curve this way, then you just let it curve that way. This looks phenomenal. I'm going to go ahead and spray that down. There's literally a cloud of hairspray in this room right now. Literally a cloud. We should have worn like gas masks or something.
It smells good.
Yeah, surprisingly, this strong hairspray actually smells pretty decent. Okay, my darlings, it is time to use the rest of her hair to complete this middle and back portion of the updo. Right now I'm just using the U-pins to make sure this hair doesn't move around. Okay, so I'm going to turn her around so you guys can see the back. Now we have all this hair to play with, and we're going to use this in nice curves. This is going to create a beautiful contrast between the light ombre color and her dark roots. So I'm just going to split her hair from the top piece, splitting it from the bottom piece. Okay, and now I can really just play around with her hair right in here. So we could either do loops, as you can see, we could do loops, or we could literally just cover the whole hair. If you want it to look just like a clean bun rather than loopy, you can literally just cover up all these pieces and create a smoother look. So what I'll do right now is, I don't want the bun, you know how the donut has a hole in the middle? I don't want that hole to create a dip in the bun, I want it to look round. So I'm gonna do something kind of interesting right now. I'm gonna take a piece of hair, right in the center of this real hair that we're playing with right now. And I'm going to tease the crap out of it. Tease, tease, tease. we're gonna make a little padding. So I'm going to tease it very, very strong. And it's gonna end up looking really big. Make sure you're pushing all that tease down. All right. We're gonna spray it just a little bit so that the baby hairs and the frizz can just get stuck to it. And now I'm going to wrap it into a little ball. Make sure it's not too frizzy, not too messy. We don't want all this to be covering all that beauty that we created here. And then we're gonna pin this ball into the bun, the center of the bun. So now basically what we just did was we filled the donut hole with her own hair. So I'm gonna give you a nice 360 view. That little piece here is that filler that we just threw in there. So now when we create the little loops and stuff over her hair, it's all going to be super, super rounded. It's not gonna look like there's a dip in her hair at all. It's gonna look amazing. So now we're gonna split this top hair into two. And we're gonna use this to just kind of cover up and create some nice styles with this updo. We want to create a little contrast so that it doesn't look like she has black hair with a blonde bun. Having some of her black hair in it is going to bring this color back to her natural. So I'm just looping her hair right now over the bun, just as so. Am I making you dizzy with all this spinning?
Just losing my balance.
You're like, I was not signing up for a Disney ride.
Oh.
And now I can do this right along here. So it's basically, you guys, it's just a bunch of looping and wrapping and covering. And it's meant to just create a bigger, stronger, more elegant looking bun. It's up to you if you want to make it just a clean bun or if you like those loops in there. I'm a big fan of the loops, so I tend to go for it. But if my client wants a very clean, classic, just smooth bun, then instead of looping everything, I just kind of drag the hair over and cover everything. Okay, and now going to the back side. We're going to cover, let me flatten up this little ball a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to use this bottom hair to cover up and wrap around this middle part so that it can round the entire bun together and it ends up just looking super big and super well balanced. I do want to split this into two so I can kind of work it better. Can you guys see this? Okay. So I'm going to use all this hair to cover up that little bun mesh piece that we created with her own hair. And I'm pinning it right into that. We're going to spray so that nothing pops out. And we're gonna use the U-pins to keep them from opening up. Beautiful. Got a little bit on the side. Basically, any place that you see is a little weak or is gonna pop up and just move around or whatever, go ahead and just pin it down. So like right in here, I'll probably just use a little pin there. Now I'm going to have all this, and we can do basically the same thing. I'm going to kind of see where it wants to curl, and I will let it go where it wants to go. We'll spray it in place, make our life a little easier while we're pinning. And now we can use the U-pins to stick it right through and give it some secure formation. And we still have this piece left, so I'm just going to use this to wrap around the bun and spray it in place. So we're going to give this whole bun a nice complete spray all throughout. Any pieces that are hanging out, we're going to tuck it in with another hairpin. And now we get to do all of this hair. So we're going to basically drape her hair into little pieces. As you saw in the picture, let me go ahead and pull up that picture so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about here. You see how there's like layers and sections of hair going up? That's that layered look that we're going to do for her. So it doesn't look like it's just pulled back into a princess bun. So I'm going to take the bottom layer first. This is the section behind the ear. I'm going to spray it. And we're going to let it kind of drape. And I will secure it in the bun. But I do want it to drape a little bit. So right at that base, dragging it up to secure. We're going to leave this alone for a sec. I'll take this next piece. Do the same thing, spray it. This is great for those who don't like a very tight look or a very solid kind of a helmet head look. This kind of gives a little bit of that soft touch to the hair. So this part is pulling tight and this part is being draped, and I'm going to stick this in a little higher in the bun, like that. So now we have a little drape here and a little drape here. All this hair we're just going to add to the bun, don't worry. And now this last piece on this side, same thing, so you guys get the hang of it. Nice loose draping. Find where you want to stick it in and use a bobby pin to attach. Gorgeous. Now we can start using all these extra pieces here to hide anything that we want to hide. If there's any pieces of scalp showing, we can hide it there. But let's go ahead and do this other side before we deal with all those little pieces. We'll wait for the end for those little pieces. So starting from the bottom piece, we're going to use a spray and drape it up. Making sure it's a little loose. And using your bobby pin to stick it right into the bun. Next piece. Spray, spray. Drape and stick it a little higher. And this last piece I'm gonna split into a couple pieces. So this one, spray, spray, same thing. And we're going to stick it higher. And make sure that it's really draping beautifully. So it may require a little bit of control on your part. So now we can see 1, 2, 3 drape there, and the last piece right on the top. We'll hide right underneath here, and it will give her a little bit of a poof. And that's up to you and your client. If they want that poof, you can totally do it. If not, you can just bring it straight back. Totally up to you guys. If you want to tease it, that's another option as well. So once I find the right position for that, I'm going to stick that in with the pin. And then we're going to use hairspray to make sure that every piece of hair kind of stays in place. But again, this style in the front is meant to look loose and look very romantic. So try not to get it too hard. And make sure that every piece really stands out. Okay, so now we're going to start putting away these ends. So this one here, we can bring it back up. If it's not going in the direction that you want it, you gotta pin it in the direction that you want it. And now I can use this to just kind of flow over. and I'll let you see the back what I'm doing here. So this piece just flowed over. Oh, your turn. There we go. So this piece right here just went right over, and I'm just gonna let it kind of give a curve right on the top. Alrighty. And next, we're going to play around with this piece here. We can bring this over. Actually, we can even, let's bring that back down. And we'll bring this into this. Just so it all flows together. And we'll give it a nice spray. And we'll pin it down. We're almost done, you guys. I just love doing big hairstyles like this. And now with these two pieces down here, we can just kind of stick them back up or find another home for them. I'm just going to add this to the whole pile too, since it flows so beautifully. Oh, love it. And it all just kind of comes together, almost on its own. It's like all these little pieces of hair end up finding their home. Now this little guy. We can stick him right here. Girl, you're just gonna have to find your groom and get married today.
I know.
Because this is a lot of work.
He's at work right now.
Oh, okay. Tell him to come over. I'll get him ready too, and then we'll just announce it here so people show up to your wedding, and we'll be good.
I think everyone's waiting for it, so.
All I'm doing in the back is I'm just adding to our existing pattern. Making sure nothing goes and moves around. I love the fact that you have multicolored hair because it shows every loop so nicely. And even if you didn't, even if you had like all one color hair, you can use the ombre extensions to create that multi-dimension, and the buns will look freaking phenomenal. So for those of you out there that have all black hair and you want your buns to look multi-dimensional, there is a color with my Bombay hairline that is more subtle. So it starts off almost black at the roots and then it goes into a chocolate brown. So it's not a major ombre. It's a very soft, subtle ombre effect. So it looks a lot more believable for brides that have all one hair color. All right, last piece, you guys, last piece. Oh, look at that. Okay, so this little guy needs a home. So I'm just going to kind of play around and see where I'm going to put him. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and add him to that previous piece. We're going to spray it really well, get it to curve over here. I'm going to start putting some pins in there. Stick it right inside. And now all of this will be tucked right underneath and complete this hairstyle. And we'll close it off with the pear pin. Any areas that are looking loose or too much or poking out, go ahead and at this point you're going to grab a few of these hairpins and just secure down anything that looks like it's going to pop back up. So I'm just going in and doing my final securing kind of all over the head, wherever I feel the need to. Anything that's looking too loose, I can go in. You can grab a few bobby pins as well and do the same thing. So I'm going to do a full 360 and make sure everything just looks on point. So elegant.
That's really good.
So good. Okay, I think we're all secured. I wouldn't want to add any more unnecessary pins. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to give her a final spray, making sure nothing's too loose or messy looking. And I'm going to spray it underneath every flap so that we have that defined separation. Anything that looks messy at all, you have to combat it, get rid of it, hit it back. Nothing can look messy. You have to be super, super picky with your brides. All right, so here is, I'm just gonna duck down. I'm gonna give you a full 360 view of this lovely girl. I'm going to go really slow in case you guys want to get any screenshots. And that is her princess bridal updo with loose front so it can look very graceful and not too tight on the head. And it would look amazing with the beautiful tiara right on this front part, or with a full-on crown like I had on my bride afterward. So I totally think you guys can do this. I know it's so time-consuming and you guys are probably totally turned off right now because it took forever to do this, but you can absolutely do it. It took me longer because I was going really slow and kind of explaining every step, but when you do this in real life, it should take about an hour depending on how much hair you're working with. And me with my OCD. overly spraying every little piece. There we go. So yeah, go ahead and take your screenshots. Make sure that you are, when you are posting any of the pictures, that you are hashtagging Just Your Face Live. So Jessica and I can both go in and check your pictures and show you some love. And I can definitely answer your questions. So if you guys have any questions at this point, go ahead and type them under the comments of my updo post, this post right over here, so that I can answer them now. So Jessica, you are free to go and take some selfies and do your thing. And then we will regroup in like 10 minutes. I'm just gonna ask some questions, and then I'll help you take all that down. Since she's not getting married today.
No, unfortunately.
You know, it's not a weekend. So. All right, so I'm gonna sit down and we're gonna answer some questions for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh this. So, ooh, good. We have about 15 minutes this time to answer as many questions as I can. We have until 7:30. So, let's get in here. Okay, good. There's not too many questions. I feel like I might have answered a lot of them during the process. So, we will actually probably end class a little bit early today. Okay, Sonu Sodhi Hair Makeup Design is asking, would you do it the same way as shown in this picture if a dupatta was to be draped over, or would you allow for another padding around the crown for a heavy dupatta to be pinned down? That's an amazing question. Thank you so much for asking. Basically, when it comes to dupattas, if the dupatta, which is, by the way, for the non-desis out there, the dupatta is the big, heavy embroidered veil that goes over the bride's head in an Indian outfit, and it's literally like a gazillion pounds. Those things are so heavy. There are some dupattas nowadays. I think designers are kind of understanding that the dupatta really doesn't have to be that heavy. There's a lot of lightweight dupattas now that don't have as many crystals or heavy crystals on them, or maybe just the border is heavy and everything else is pretty light. But I'm used to working with very heavy dupattas too. And in this case, because that hair pad that I used on her is so huge and so thick and like, I mean, literally you can't smash it, she would be okay to have a dupatta on her right now. If, though, you want a bigger, rounder dupatta look, then I would add one more, like a donut, cut it into a long noodle, and add that to the front so that instead of a tall thing right on the top of the head, it's like more spread out. So you absolutely can use another piece to create a wider, rounder look if you don't want that crown look on the very, very top. So that's the only difference that I would do. I would probably just add another one just so it didn't look like a cone head on the top. But if you wanted, you could absolutely just throw the dupatta on this and it will not smash down at all. It would remain exactly intact. In fact, with enough hairspray and enough pinning like I did, if the bride takes off the dupatta for the reception, she can still rock that same hairstyle unfazed and not have to have it touched up. All right, and next, oh, thank you for your compliment, by the way. Thank you. Okay, so Nada underscore Chamo is asking, should you put foundation first or concealer? So I normally do foundation first and then concealer because I feel like the foundation covers up so much already that I don't have to use as much concealer. And whatever the foundation doesn't cover, that's where I would add concealer. So for me, it makes sense to do foundation first, but a lot of people out there tend to do concealer first because of color correcting and things like that, and then the foundation. That's completely up to you guys. I'm not, you know me, as an instructor, I'm not a strict person. I feel like if something works, great, do it. So if something else works better for you, then go for it. Continue doing the way you do as long as it works and it looks amazing. For me, what works for me is foundation first, then concealer. If I have to do color correcting, I'll do foundation first, then color correcting, and then concealer. Oh my God, I love you guys. You guys are so freaking sweet. Okay. So, a lot of questions about my online certification. It hasn't launched yet. It's such a process because I really want it to be perfect and I want to make sure that you're learning as much as possible. So the online certification is going to be makeup only for now. I have not done the hair classes yet. I've probably filmed maybe half of the hair classes so far, and the other half has not been filmed yet. So that's going to take some time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to launch my in-person classes first before I launch my online certs. And with the online certification, it's going to be very different from what you see online right now. It's going to be actually 100 times different, because it's not going to be just a group of classes that you can take and you can just buy a certificate. I have to test you. I have to test your knowledge. I need to make sure that you're understanding. So right now, the reason why this keeps getting later and later, and I'm so sorry. I know you guys are being so patient with me, and believe me, I've been wanting this for like the past year that I've been talking about it. But the reason why I haven't launched it yet is because now we're working on a way that I can see your work somehow. I have to see your work in order to ethically certify you. I need to make sure that you're understanding. So we created the test. The test is good, but I need to find a way where I can really keep tabs on you, whether it's on Instagram or on my website itself or via a webcam situation. I don't know how we're going to do it because I have so many students. But I promise you, eventually it will be perfect and we'll make it happen for you guys. So just be patient with me, but if you don't want to wait, my private classes are going to be available a lot sooner. So hopefully by the middle or end of summer, I'll have those ready. So any of you who are able to come to LA to learn from me in a small group setting, that would probably be your best bet, because hands-on is always a million times better than learning something through a computer, right? So I'm sure you guys can imagine. Okay, so Glamour by Zara is asking, which foundation is best for coverage and dry skin? Please suggest. Love you. Love you too. So my favorite foundation for full coverage is Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer. It can cover tattoos. It's amazing. But it's very, very heavy. So for most of my clients, I end up using MAC Studio Fix foundation, which is for all skin types. If they have super dry skin, I'll make sure that it has a little bit more moisture. So I'll use a primer that has more moisture in it, like the Hourglass number 28 serum. That primer, Hourglass number 28, is very emollient and very soft and silky. So I put that on my dry skin clients, and then I can put whatever foundation over it, and it ends up looking more smooth. MTick91 is asking what shades you use for the LA Girl contour and highlight. For the LA Girl Pro Conceals, for contour I use Beautiful Bronze, and for highlight I use, there's different beige ones. There's like pure beige, and there's also porcelain for those of you who are really, really light. There's some honey colors that are better for more tan skin. And creamy beige is the one that I use the most. Creamy beige is just a few shades lighter than my concealer color, so I use that for my tan Caucasian girls all the way to my tan Indian girls and like brown girls. So that's pretty universal. S.core.1 is asking, what's your favorite long-lasting eyeliner, primer, and concealer? Favorite long-lasting eyeliners, there's a lot, and I make them long-lasting by adding eyeshadow, but my favorite for super, super long-lasting and hard to take off eyeliner is Inglot number 77 AMC Gel Liner. Inglot number 77 AMC Gel Liner. And for primer, I'm open to a lot of primers. I actually don't even know if the primers really even work for my way of doing makeup, because I add so much layers of makeup that I feel like it's my technique that makes it last longer than a primer does. Because I've done my makeup without primers and it lasts super long. So I don't even know. But the primers that I've liked is the Hourglass primer for dry skin. For long lasting effect, I love the MAC Original Prep and Prime, and I love the YSL Touche Éclat Blur, and I love the Lancome La Bosse Pro primer. It's, oh my god, it's so silky and amazing. And then my favorite long-lasting concealer is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. Okay, so Sonia Rafiq 08 is asking, what are the products that prevent flakiness on the face? So if you have flaky dry skin, you want to make sure you exfoliate your skin. So there are daily exfoliators out there that you can just use in the shower for your face. It's pretty safe to use every day, like the Lancome ones. I would go to Lancome and check it out. As far as a product, again, when I see a bride that has flakiness anywhere, I'll use the Hourglass number 28 serum on those super dry areas, and then a regular serum everywhere else. Primer, and it ends up being okay. Z_110 is asking, what's the trick of your makeup lasting all day without having to use tons of products? I find primer doesn't do quite well for me. In the middle of the day, I look like a zombie. Aww. Okay, so it's really, makeup will not last all day unless you are layering it. So using makeup without having used so many products is kind of hard because you literally have to find a waterproof foundation. I've tried a lot of water-resistant foundations from Lancome. Tinted Ultra 24-hour wear was amazing. Revlon Color Stay foundation is amazing. All these foundations are amazing, but they're not gonna last all day and all night unless you set it with enough powder, unless you layer it. You know, there's a lot of techniques, and all these techniques that I do in my online classes that you're watching really help for that. So I strongly, strongly urge you to wear your primer and to layer your makeup. It's not going to feel super heavy if you're layering it with a lot of full coverage powders. So instead of using a translucent powder, switch it to full coverage powders, like powders from MAC, the Studio Fix powders, which are foundation powders in one. Those are super heavy, super full coverage, but they don't feel heavy on the face. So after you put on your foundation, when you put that on, it adds to the coverage, it adds to the long-lasting quality of your makeup without making you feel like, oh my god, I have slime all over my face. It's not like that at all because it's dry. So try that. Hopefully that will work. Beauty Lover _786, will you have a payment plan for your online certification? We are planning that. So that's another reason why we have been waiting on the launch, is because we want to make sure that we are offering some sort of, not exactly financial aid, but a payment plan for those of you who need financial aid. So for those of you who are not able to pay all at once, you can, we're trying to create a way that you could pay monthly or per session or something like that. But it's really hard to create that kind of thing from scratch. So we are working on it. Most likely when we do launch it, it will be launched as an all-in-one payment first. And then as we finish up that part of that payment processing, we'll be able to relaunch with that payment plan. Just again, be patient with us. Eventually we will make it work. Raba.abro is asking, are you fond of drugstore products? I'm not super fond of them, but there are certain brands that actually do work well. NYX Cosmetics is a pro artistry type of brand. If you guys have noticed, all their stuff is very artistry driven, so their products are actually very usable. So NYX is one of them, and Revlon and L'Oreal. Those are the three that I feel I think I could do a good makeup job with those three brands. Luxy_leopard, are you going to be at Fame Expo? I think I am. I have not missed a Fame Expo in like 3 years, so I think I shall be there. Let's see what else. Trying to skip down to some other questions. I've already answered a lot of them. Okay, Being Preeti is asking, how do you deal with hairstyle change from wedding to reception on the same day? Do you, as you suggest, at least a 1-day-old hair? Help. Learning tons from you. Thank you so much. You have completely changed my makeup game. Lots of love. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much for your kind words. I love your question. I think that's a very important question for those of you out there who do hair on Indian brides that end up having their wedding and their reception on the same day, and they need 2 different looks. What I prefer, and this is why I love the Tresemme No. 5 hairspray. What I prefer is when I do my bride's morning, I tell them, do not wash your hair for the evening. Let me brush that out for you. So what they do is, if they have to shower in case they got sweaty and stuff, they'll put their hair in a shower cap and they'll clean their bodies, whatever. But when I come back, or when they come back, or however we plan this, when we see each other again for the reception, I have them remove whatever pins they can. If they don't have time, I'll go ahead and undo their updo for them, and I brush it out with the Layla Milani brush. That Miracle brush is so smooth. Oh my God, it does not pull the hair, and the Tresemme hairspray does not flake. So when you're brushing it out, you don't see all that white, nasty residue. You just have healthy, soft, mattified hair, and it's amazing. So do not let them wash their hair. If it's same day, just brush it out, and you can recurl it or do whatever you need to do for the evening. If you're using Tresemme hairspray. Other hairsprays, not so much. Mousses, not so much. Pomades, never. It's too sticky. Only this hairspray will let you do that. I need to get, if any of you work for Tresemme, can you please hook me up with some deal? Because I mean, I've been like promoting them 10 years now, 10 years. I think I've earned a free crate. I'm kidding, by the way. It's like $5, it's fine. Okay, anyways, next question. Okay, I think I've answered all these questions. Okay, there's a question from Magnified Beauty about under eye creasing. What can you do to prevent that? The thing that I do is, as you've seen in a lot of my bridal classes online, the under eye concealer, I make sure that I'm pressing it into the skin really, really evenly. So either use a flat brush or a beauty blender and use Pro Longwear Concealer from MAC, and then use a crap load of powder to set over it. It will not crease at all. If it does, that means you're not using enough of you're not doing the right balance. So less concealer, more powder. The drier it is, the less it's gonna crease. If it's too wet, it's gonna move around and then it's gonna crease. Hope that makes sense. Miss Melissa is asking about if you have a client that doesn't want a certain brand, do you have a backup in your kit? Most of my clients do come to my house. I have a home studio and I have literally every brand. So if someone does not like MAC due to whatever reason it may be, I have so many other brands to offer, like Tarte, like Benefit, like Anastasia, all sorts of other amazing brands that I can easily work with without having to use MAC. MAC is my favorite because it looks the best, and I'm so used to the colors. I understand that brand really well inside and out, so I prefer to stay with MAC. But if I do have a client that doesn't want to use MAC due to whatever reasons, I do have other products. But that's something that you have to discuss with your client before. So if, let's say, you're going to their house and you didn't bring all those products, that's really on that client, because they should have told you what they want to stay away from, because you're not a psychic. And that's something that also you should ask them on a phone consultation, or if they come in for a trial, to make sure that you're bringing the right stuff for them based on their needs. All right, I think I'm going to do one last question, and that is, because we're over time right now by 5 minutes. So the last question is makeup by Shivani Segal. Whenever I use dark brown or black eyeshadow after doing the whole face, the shadows come on the lower lash line and make the under eye dark. I sometimes have to wipe that area and redo the concealer and highlighter. How can I prevent this? So if you have a lot of fallout from dark eyeshadows, one thing that I like to do is I like to use a lot of powder under the eye, so that if anything falls, immediately I can just flick it off and it won't stick. If something falls and you wait before you wipe it off, it sticks to their skin, and so you won't be able to wipe it off. So as soon as it falls, you gotta get rid of it. Very lightly flick it off with a clean brush. Another thing you can do is shadow shields. So if you have shadow shields, you can buy them at Walmart now. Or you can find them, at the drugstore. Use the shield under the eye when you are using eyeshadow so that they don't fall out. Eventually, once you master some of the techniques that I'm showing you guys on the online classes, you will not experience fallout. It took me years, but I finally have this method down. after a few years of really practicing how to do eyeshadow without it falling all over the place. So you have to not sweep as much. It's more about sliding and packing rather than sweeping and being messy. So try to get a little bit more disciplined in your movements when it comes to eyeshadows, and continue watching the classes. They will definitely help you, especially the eyeshadow classes that I'll be doing. I'll be showing you a little bit more about the press and slide techniques that I've been using to prevent fallout. But again, like I said, if there is fallout, flick it off right away. Use a lot of powder under the eyes, and if all else fails, you use a shadow shield to pick up those products. So we are done for the day. It is 7:36. I'm so sorry I kept you longer than usual, but I wanted to just make sure I answered all your questions, and I did, and I'm so glad. To those who are saying that their question wasn't answered, it was probably answered during the class. So definitely watch the class again so you guys can catch that. And thank you so much. I have a huge class coming up in a couple of days. On Saturday, I've decided to give away a free prom makeover. So in a little bit, I'm gonna choose the winner, and maybe you guys can help me choose the winner on Snapchat. So get on my Snapchat and help me out here, because I need to figure out who's gonna win this free makeover. I'm gonna do hair and makeup for a prom on Saturday. So you guys get to watch a makeup tutorial and a hair tutorial again Saturday. I'll see you then. Mwah. Have a good night and talk to you later. Bye.